Do you remember a couple of years ago when Harry and Meghan were accused of being, by their former boss at Spotify, that very fruitful phrase, shall we say, chums, of grifters? Remember that? And everybody thought, oh dear, they'd been signed for this money. How could they possibly be? And Meghan, as you know, counteracted this by suddenly getting a deal with a very much smaller podcasting company, of which now she's subsequently walked away from because she's too busy. And consequently, also, you think, well, how true was that particular statement? The backlash was, well, Harry and Meghan are just desperately trying to make their own way. They're allowed to make their own living, but behind the scenes, beavering away, trying to get you and I to pay for their security. Meanwhile, Meghan caught blatantly lying on the world stage once again by using the HRH titles, which she promised after doing that deep and disgraceful deep fake curtsy on her Netflix show to the late monarch. It's all just so unsavoury. Now, according to an excellent source, well, the people at Harry and Meghan truly now have only left in their arsenal of people that might still want to work with them. Well, even they're angry after their recent stint over in the US. As ever, let me explain. Morning, chums, lovely to see you. Thank you for taking the time out to join me as ever today, and also welcome brand new subscribers. Can I ask, chums, by the way, I've just been in a supermarket and I wanted to know your opinion on this because this is an age thing, right? Over here in the United Kingdom, we're coming up to bonfire night, and I saw in the tray, in the supermarket tray, toffee apples. Do you remember when you loved those as a kid and you absolutely nagged to get a toffee apple? Do you remember? And now I was thinking of all the complications that if you bought a toffee apple that you might have. Chipped tooth, filling coming out, worse than that. And you think, tempted, and then you think, no, it's not worth it. I wanted to know, do you still buy toffee apples? Do you make them? And are you brave enough still to eat them, given the fact that none of us can find a dentist that's willing to repair anything, or indeed just get on a register? It's weird, isn't it? The things that you just ate with, sort of abandon and thought, that'll do. And now you're thinking, hang on a minute, I don't know. Yeah. It's a bit like Seaside Rock. Are you like, yes, you see, these things come to haunt you. It's a little bit like this that I just find incredible when you think of the true density and thickness of Harry and Meghan. They truly are two of the dimmest celebrities that you could possibly find. Meghan Markle might serene around Paris like she's some kind of big shot, but the true reality is she's clearly very dim. And here's the reason why. You see, remember earlier this year, which seems an eternity now, doesn't it? Way back in February, when Harry and Meghan decided to, infiltrate Canada and, of course, the wonderful place that is Vancouver for their Invictus Games. And once again, Meghan Markle arrived, if you remember, late and suddenly decided that she had to take to the stage because, the Invictus now is about them as a duo. It's not about the veterans, it's about Meghan, And if you remember, she got onto the stage and she wasn't going to speak. Oh, please, as if you could have wrestled the microphone from her. You would have needed the Incredible Hulk to do that, This is a woman that thinks the world is waiting in anticipation to hear her next bon mot. Harry duly let her speak, and she bored everybody senseless by letting us in by these little secrets of her children that we never see, only from the backs of her head, to basically say, Harry just talks about Invictus, breakfast, lunch, dinner. He's working so hard for you guys. Right, I'm not really seeing a lot of that, and given the fact that we were told they just work 1 hour a week, which bit is he working so much for? You get the picture. And where I find it even more fascinating is the fact that if you remember behind the scenes, there were Harry and Meghan, and they were pictured doing all sorts of stuff, her in all of this designer outfit, which was broken down simply because her team at the time when she had one were giving out the details to people about what Meghan was wearing, right? You get the picture there. Again, what's interesting is, fast forward a few months, and it's all about the book and it's all about the bang. If you don't believe me, here we go. You see, with Harry and Meghan, it's always about what they want. In particular, not necessarily, I would say, him, but certainly her. Meghan Markle doesn't lift a finger unless there's something in it for her. Whether she's attaching herself to Gloria Steinem like some magnet, this poor woman, if you like, in a certain era of her life, probably doesn't realise just exactly how well, it's going for her. Remember, Gloria Steinem might be a sort of activist in many people's mind, but she's very much yesterday's news. But for Meghan Markle, she's seen as this thing. And remember, recently, Meghan pointed out that she'd be very thrilled if her daughter became an activist. Right, so that's on the writing already. This is going to be one nuisance child, right? And so you can just see, right, here we go. Now, again, where this is interesting, they turned up at the Dodgers baseball game, and many have realised and known that Meghan allegedly now has switched allegiance to the former team that she allegedly liked to support. And, people are allowed to do that. But what was interesting was, and again, this is where you've got to look at the bigger picture of exactly how ruthless Meghan Markle truly is. She made sure that all of this visit was detailed. She allowed herself to be in the kiss cam camera, seemingly because they're all free tickets, everything's given for free, and more importantly, she was going to give them something back in return. There she was, of course, donned in the Dodgers hat alongside Prince Harry, and the backstage footage, which was supposedly, not allowed for, but it was all agreed in advance. And then where this gets even more interesting is these little sneak peeks of date night. I mean, they're not 16, they're in their 40s. People don't have date nights, you just go on with daily life. But Meghan is stuck in a time warp 80s. She seems to love the movie with Rob Lowe and Demi Moore, About Last Night. There's always phrases like that. So clearly she's stuck in that particular era. But the most chilling thing, and this is the thing that I've been told from an excellent source inside Invictus, is simply this. As you saw the picture with Meghan wolfing down a hot dog alongside a very prominent sign for the Dodgers, right? Now, you could have had that hot dog anywhere, right? In your seat, you didn't need to be pictured eating it, but it was sheer and take two. Now, that particular hot dog, it was simply sheer marketing. She did it for marketing. She did it for the free tickets, right? Now, over at Invictus, if you remember, Meghan Markle never once donned any of the merchandise, the attire, the baseball hat, the t-shirt, the trousers, the tracksuit, holding the mug, anything. She did nothing. Simply because she's not being paid. She is brought along there with Prince Harry. The best that Meghan can get from this really is the designer outfits, hence the reason she wore a lot of designer outfits, and at that time was still trying to push herself as this person of a fashionista. This is long before Paris, although that was in the meeting at that particular point. Now, where is this difficult? Well, as you know, Harry and Charity are now not exactly bedfellows, all thanks to the shambles with Dr. Sophie Chenduka, who called him out on international television, basically said the way it was run and how disinterested he was, and he hadn't been for years since he met Meghan Markle. We could go on, right? Now, Meghan, as I said, never once wore the merchandise, has never once plugged the merchandise on her now burgeoning Instagram account. Yet we're supposed to believe that Invictus is the most important thing in Harry's life. He beamingly sat next to her at the Dodgers game with the baseball hat on. He at least has had the contrite to wear on occasions some of the merchandise. Now, what you have to remember is, which is more important to Meghan Markle? A Dodgers game where they've given you free tickets, and more importantly, you are the star attraction, trying to diffuse away from the absolute debacle of you driving through Paris and, of course, all the associations with your mother-in-law, Princess Diana? Or indeed, would you say she was really keen on Invictus? As I said, from an excellent source at Invictus, they were highly disappointed in the fact that Meghan didn't embrace their merchandise the same way that she's embraced somebody that apparently she's just now formed an allegiance to. Either way, expect more on this story very soon. Neil Sean, Kensington.